Today we're going to talk about arpeggios and why they're so important for your development. Stick around. Hello everyone, it's James from Practice Like a Pro, providing you with simple clear guitar tips to help you on your guitar playing journey. So I wanted to talk about arpeggios and why they're so important. In today's lesson we're going to learn an A dominant 7th arpeggio shape for you to go away and look at. Let's get straight into it and then we'll talk about arpeggios later. So, this is a 6-string arpeggio shape. It sounds like this. So we're going to start with the root, which is on the 5th fret of the low E string. I want you to use your middle finger for this, please. Moving on, we've got the 4th fret of the A string with our index finger. Then we've got the 7th fret with our pinky. Moving on, we've got the 5th fret of the D string, followed by the 7th fret of the D string, and I'm using fingers 1 and 3. Moving on, we're going to use the 6th fret of the G as like a little step down to the 5th fret of the B. Then we've got 8th fret with his pinky on the same string. We've got 5th fret on the high E, which is back to his root. And then we've got the major 3rd all the way up on the 9th fret. And this is a bit of a stretch, but I want you to use your pinky again. I just want to have a talk about picking this. Now, arpeggios are often confused with sweep picking. They are very, very similar. Sweep picking's arpeggios that are laid out in a way that you only tend to play one note per string so that you can do a downward pick all the way down and then an upstroke on the way up and cover all the strings. These arpeggios are a little bit more classical in style, and what that means is occasionally you're going to have to do alternate picking. I'll put the tab on screen as well, but let's just walk through the first 5 notes and I'll show you what I'm down picking and what I'm up picking. So I start with a downstroke, I do another downstroke because I'm moving string, then I do an upstroke because I'm staying on the A, so I'm going down, down, up, then I'm going to do another down, moving on to the D string, and then another upstroke. Down, down, up, down, up. Then as we move through the middle of the arpeggio, you've got 3 notes in a sequence together and they're all on different strings, which is 7th fret, 6th fret and 5th fret. I'm going to do downstrokes for all of those because I'm passing through them. For the whole pattern, I'm going down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. And then I just do it all in reverse on the way back up. I'd recommend that you split this up into chunks and maybe do 2 or 3 strings at a time. I'll put a card above. There's a video where I talked about memorising scales and I talked about what's called the adding a string technique. Do this with your arpeggios as well. This is how I learned them. So once you can get to the top and you get all the way through, try and do it in reverse. You'll have heard this on TV programs of singers warming up and they're going ba 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 ba. They're doing all that kind of stuff. Those exercises are so important for singers to develop the range and stuff. And we're doing a very, very similar thing, but we're working all 4 fingers, and it's so important that you use all 4 fingers to play these exercises. So why are arpeggios so important? Well, arpeggios are the strongest notes that you can possibly use to solo or create a melody over the chords that you're playing over. So when you're playing as part of a band, it's a really common misconception with improvisation that you just pick a scale and just play as many notes as your fingers will let you. If you want to get to that next level, you need to know what you're playing over, and arpeggios really do help that. Now, maybe you're not at the level of improvisation yet, but they also work as fantastic finger exercises. You'll be able to see on my channel we've got all these spider exercises that I talk about, and those are great. If you're a beginner guitar player, those are really, really boring, but they're really, really useful because they get all 4 digits working. But a lot of the time, they're all in a sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4 or 4, 3, 2, 1. Arpeggios make you jumble things up. So with this arpeggio that we're working on, you're practicing going from your middle finger to your index finger, your pinky to your index finger, your 3rd finger to your 2nd finger to your 1st finger. It jumbles it all up and really tests where you're at. And to improve as a guitar player, I need you to constantly be adapting the things that you're working on, and it will feel like an uphill battle most of the time, but the trajectory is upwards. It's getting more and more difficult the further that you go through this, and arpeggios are the next kind of level of that. Now, the added bonus is when you start improvising or start playing more melodies and more lead guitar work, a lot of these familiar shapes are going to come up again and again and again, like, for example, playing your middle finger to your index finger in this kind of... You're going to find that comes up again and again and again, and you're kind of doing muscle memory exercises for the future, but also all these shapes are memorized as well. If you want to take this a little bit further, perhaps find the A dominant 7 arpeggios in different places of the neck. We've learnt this one today. You could play this one here. You could play it here. There's loads that you can do all over the neck, and it's really going to help unlock the different parts of the neck. Another great idea that you could do is group arpeggios together and move them up and down the neck. So a common thing that I get my students to do is just that one shape and just kind of bounce around a little bit and get used to the frets getting bigger as you go down the neck or smaller as you come up the neck. So you could play, instead of starting on the 5th fret, you could play it on fret 3, then fret 5, fret 7, fret 9, and kind of skip around. It's all good practice, just don't get stuck in a rut where you're doing the same thing round and round and round because it's easy. Constantly challenge yourself, because that's how we get better as players. I hope you found that useful. If you did, please let us know in the comments. If you like what we do here at Practice Like a Pro, please do consider subscribing on the icon above. And if you'd like to learn something else, have a look at one of his other videos. Until I see you next time, thank you very much. Keep practicing like a pro. Cheers.